Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone and welcome to Ask Rob and Rob, the show where you get your questions in to us. And whether we're answering them here on Ask Rob and Rob or each and every Sunday in the Sunday Times, we enjoy it, obviously, because we keep doing it. And let's make sure we carry on enjoying ourselves by reminding you how you can get your questions in.
It's so easy. All you've got to do is go to propertyhub.net/ask. From there, you can either leave us a voicemail directly on the page, or there's a number where you can give us a ring. You get multiple attempts so you can make sure you get it right, and your question will wing its way over to us. You do, though, need to make sure you leave your name. Otherwise, we'll make one up for you. So, Rob, who's our first caller today?
I don't know their name, so I'm going to call them Mo.
Hi Rob, I'm 29 years old and I'm looking to get started in my property investment journey. I already own my own home, which I'm hoping to settle buy to let in the next year or so. I work full-time, including weekends and nights, so I'm wary of time-consuming strategies. My aim is to build up about £3,000 to £4,000 a month cash flow so that I can sort of shorten the time that I have to save to buy properties. Now, I've considered doing buy-to-lets, and I find that the cash flow is going to be a little bit too slow for me to build up my property portfolio. HMOs seem too time-consuming, and I've lived in a few myself, and I know how much work you've got to put into that. Because of that, I started looking into buying blocks of apartments because I get the same sort of cash flow as HMOs, but less of the stress. Or so I believe. What do you think about this sort of strategy? I don't really hear much talked about buying blocks of apartments. I would appreciate any advice you could give. Thank you.
Hi Mo, thanks for your questions on HMOs and other things as well. It's an interesting question and an interesting strategy, and I think there's a good reason why people don't do it, and not because it's a poor strategy, but the reason why people don't buy blocks of apartments is because a lot of people don't have the means to be able to just go and buy a block of apartments. People may eventually get to that point where they're in the position to be able to go and buy a whole block, but it's not because they don't want to, it's because in the majority of cases they don't have the means to do it. So is this a good strategy? Well, yes. If you are seeing deals on blocks of apartments that are yielding higher than buying one individual unit, then absolutely go for it if your cash pot allows you to do so. You may be wondering, while you listen to this, why are they higher yields? Well, potentially they are higher because it's not guaranteed to be higher. But the reason why you may be able to get yourself a better yield by going down this route is because effectively you're buying in bulk. And because you're buying in bulk, there's a smaller market. So as less people do it, there's also less competition for people going in to buy these units. And when somebody wants to get rid of a fair amount of property in one go, they may be more willing to do a deal on it. Rather than break the properties up one by one and take more time to sell it all, they may be willing to do a price that allows it to be sold in one block to one buyer, which creates a lot of efficiencies. So Mo, if you are in the position where you can invest in this type of property investment opportunity, a block of apartments, then don't hold back. Of course, do your research like you would with any type of investment. But other than it being hard for people to get into this, there's no other reason not to. If you've ticked all your boxes, done all your research, and it looks like a great deal.
Okay, thank you, Mo. Let's hear what Steve has to ask.
Hi, Rob and Rob. Steve here from Manchester. Long-term listener of the show, big fan. Been a massive help over the years, so thank you very much for all the excellent content. I'm looking to take a little bit of a leaf out of Rob D's book, and we're looking to sell our own home and then go into renting ourselves. We're then looking to take the proceeds of the sale of the property and put that into further investments, likely to do a combination of flip and hold strategy, potentially starting off with a flip. My question is, now that we don't own our own home, or once we don't own our own home and we're renting, I believe we can then purchase another home without the additional stamp duty that we'd normally incur for an additional property. And also, when we come to sell on that flip, we wouldn't also incur capital gains tax as well. Is that correct? And is there anything I should watch out for? Any advice would be great. Thank you.
Steve, thank you for the kind words and for your question. And the answer as to whether that is correct is yes and no. So let's start with the yes, and that is stamp duty. So when it comes to stamp duty and whether you have to pay the extra 3%, the key is how many properties you own on the day that you buy the most recent one. So if you buy a property and on that day you have two because you have your home or you have another investment property, then you have to pay the higher rate on that new purchase. If you don't, if it's only one, then you pay the normal rate. And there are some subtleties in there about replacing your main home, but we don't need to worry about that right now. So in your case, if you've sold your home, that's gone through, you're living in rental accommodation, so you own 0 properties, then of course your next investment will take you to 1, no additional stamp duty to pay. Where what you said is not quite right necessarily is if you do a flip, then you wouldn't need to pay capital gains tax on that flip. That's only the case if that property that you're flipping is your home. So there's no tax to pay on capital gains that come from your own primary residence. So if you're living in a rental property while also buying a property and flipping it, then that property you're flipping is not your residence. And so you will have tax to pay on your capital gains. If, however, you moved out of rental accommodation and into the property while you were flipping it, and you genuinely done that, you could prove it, you have bills going there, you're in the electoral roll and all that stuff, then there'd be no capital gains tax to pay. So as you'll see, you've got a lot of flexibility, and how much you want to take advantage of that flexibility kind of depends on how much you're prepared to uproot your life and kind of make your life difficult in order to secure the tax benefits. So at least now you know where you are and you can make that decision.
And I'm sure you've all made the decision to join us next Tuesday for Ask from Rob. But before then, we'll be back for the main event, the Property Podcast, on Thursday. So until those wonderful events occur, take care, have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.